Thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Devin Bishop, and I cover just guitar lessons, guitar gear, reviews, and just try to have some fun along the way. So today we're talking about major arpeggio shapes, and I've already done a video on minor arpeggio shapes. Be sure to check that out. And if this is your first introduction to arpeggio shapes in general, this is a good place to start. The minor one's a good place to start, either or, but you need both of them. So I recommend watching one, then, after you get that down, go to the other one. Or if you want to do both, just go have some fun, do both. We're going to start just with a C major arpeggio shape. So the way you want to think about this is if A is the first shape that you play, think about just an A chord. Just normal A chord that you'd play in songs or whatever. If you move that up, you have to make a bar chord now. Okay? And it becomes a C major arpeggio because A sharp, B, and then C. C major chord, by the way. So if you were to play this as an arpeggio, you would just play it like this. And then you have a C major arpeggio. So pretty much just an arpeggio is a chord played one note at a time. The next way is to include a third that you're leaving out. So technically an arpeggio should always be root third, fifth, root third, fifth, root third, fifth. At first, that's how you learn it. Eventually, you can start breaking them up and, do it in different ways. But at the beginning, it's important to do that root third, fifth, root third, fifth. So if you look at this, you have root fifth, then you have root third, fifth. So we're skipping a third there. To include that third, you need to play the 7th fret on the 5th string. So then your bar switches from your ring finger to your middle finger, and your pinky is going to play that 7th fret, and that would look like this. Okay? And that's the second way. The third way is to include all the notes possible in this particular shape pattern right here. And so that would start on 6th string and would go all the way to the 8th fret on the 1st string. And that would look like this. So that would be index, index, pinky, middle, 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 then index, pinky. So even if you're not getting into metal playing and you're just playing acoustic guitar, these same arpeggio shapes apply. And this is how I started to learn to visualize the fretboard and be able to grasp where the C chord is whenever somebody's playing a C chord and they're like, hey, play a solo idea or something. I have to know where this shape is. And then the next step past that would also be to know where the scale is around that arpeggio. And there'll be a lesson coming on that in the future. So the next shape after A would be G. And if you're new to this idea of the CAGED system, that is where I'm getting this from. And I don't adhere 100% to the CAGED system, but I use it as a means to an end, basically. So your A shape is going to connect to your G shape, okay, through this bar chord right there. It's going to connect over to right there, the G shape. So if you think of a G chord and you just were to move that up, you would have to include a bar chord for all the zeros that you were just playing. So then you'd have G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then C right here. And that would be like this, just played straight. And you can hear there's a pretty big jump right here. So the reason that is because we're skipping straight from a third to a root. We're not including the 5th. And you can hear a little doorbell kind of thing in there. If you were to include that note in there, you would get a second possibility for this one, and that would be like this. And so that would be ring, middle, and then your index finger's doing the bar, and that would be index, 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 and then your pinky comes out to play another string or another note on the second string, and that's the 8th fret pinky, and then 8th fret pinky on first string. So all together, it's something like that. Now your next one that you're going to use is going to be a bar chord from the E major shape. So if you think an E major shape down here, if you were to move that up, now you have to make a bar because your zeros have to go up a fret as well. So then you have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then here's your C right here. So this chord played as an arpeggio sounds like this. So a more inclusive way is to include the third on the 6th and the 1st string. So that would be like this. Because originally we're leaving out that third. We're going straight to the 5th. We're going root 5, root 3rd, 5th, and then root. Yeah, that's it. To have the arpeggio laid out completely as far as all the notes possible in this shape, which, you know, not all the time are you going to play it like this, but it's important to learn it like this so you know what notes are there and available to you. So like that, we would have index, pinky on the 12, and then we would have middle, ring, middle, and then we'd have index, index, pinky. So all together. And so far we have 3 shapes. We have this A shape, but it's a C chord. Then we have this G shape, but it's a C chord. And then we have this E shape, but it's a C chord. And you can hear those all sound the same, right? But they're in different places, and they yield different solo ideas, and they yield different just lines in general, whether it's acoustic guitar, electric guitar. Yep, it's just important to know these. So your next one is going to be from a D shape. So if you can think of the original D chord you learned, like this, and then if you were to move that all the way up here to the 12th fret, it would become a C chord. So if you were to play this as an arpeggio, it'd be like this. Now, there's a lot of other notes available to you from this position. Your first one would be this note here, which is the 3rd. So you would go root 3rd on the 14th fret, and then you would go 12, 13, 12. Just like that. So that arpeggio is like this. Then the next thing to do is to include the notes below that are also available. So then you would start on the 3rd for this one, which would be 12th fret. And then you would play the 10th fret on 5th string, which would be your 5th. Then you'd play your 10th fret on 4th string, which would be your root. Then the 14, then the 12, 13, 12. So altogether, that arpeggio is like this. So the last one we're going to do is just the C standard shape. Okay, that as an arpeggio up here would be like this. And your C chord is actually a special case where it's actually already laid out root 3rd, 5th, root 3rd. But there are 2 notes available to you on the 6th string and 1 note on the 1st string that you may not exactly be aware of unless you've studied it before. So we're going to include the 15 on the 1st string and the 15 on the 6th string. And then that arpeggio would be like this. And then there's still 1 more note, which is the 12th fret on the 6th string. And if you put that all together, you get the whole shape all together, all the notes included that are around the arpeggio, and that would be like this. And the fingers together would start index, pinky, pinky, ring, index, middle, index, pinky. So there you have it, guys. There's all 5 of the basic arpeggio shapes in the key of C. So take all these, practice them. Again, the goal is to get you to be able to visualize these. So not only practice them with your fingers and getting the technique down, but also practice just looking at the fretboard and trying to visualize these arpeggio shapes, because that's what you're going to have to do whenever you play a solo. Say somebody is playing a C, you're going to have to know where the shapes are in order to be able to cover the change, to be able to cover the chord as a soloist. So thanks for watching, guys. My name's Devin Bishop. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video. And stay tuned for other videos and gear reviews, and I'll see you next time.